going to tell us a few things about, ordering flowers and all that good stuff right now. So some good information from one of our wholesalers. So go ahead, John. Thank you for being here.
All right, no problem. Thank you. I apologize. It's like I'm squeezing this in only because of some of the things we're going to talk about right now. We are just facing with a lot of struggles as far as with getting product to the end user. And so there's a lot of factors that have kind of come into play with that. And so I just kind of wanted to go through a few of those things and then really things that will help you be able to be more successful at getting the product that you so desire to have. So a couple things right now, Columbia is under a national labor strike, and that is drawing a big impact to getting goods out of Columbia. Each day we're getting updates from farms if they've been able to move product to get it to airports, or if they have roads blocked that is not allowing them to get the flowers to the airport to fly out. So that's a daily challenge that we're having from majority of Colombian farms. Secondly is that we have an issue with airspace out of Colombia. So, once the product is getting there, we're seeing flights get delayed on a daily basis. And so that's now causing an issue of they've, fought hard to get through roadblocks, and, then we're having issues with products being able to fly out. That's outside of the country. One other thing that I guess in Ecuador right now, they've been struggling with the rose weather, and it's been very unfavorable for growing conditions. So roses, which are always in a high demand, are being impacted right now with quantities based on weather. When you get here to the United States, once the product made it here down to Miami, the trouble that I know that we have with our trucking line, and as I've reached out to a couple other places that they're having with different trucking lines they use, is just having enough trucks. Our line that we use is down over 60 drivers this year, and the impact is huge for them, meaning that, like, as an example, our truck, which normally is in, first thing in the morning, now we had today land to us at 12 o'clock, which really puts us a full market day behind. So those days of trying to get product to you, first thing in the morning, having it come in, was very challenging today. So, and the truth of that is that, I'm here right now getting ready to take another delivery out, which would normally be a time that I would be home, probably enjoying dinner. So that has, really put a lot of wrinkles into that. So all that being said, what can we do to make sure that we get product to you in a orderly fashion? The more notice that we can have, the better that will be. Notice, on an event, if we can have like 2-week notice, it's going to really help with being able to get product. Secondly is that I would recommend not necessarily focusing in on, hoping to get the product the day that you need it. You may want to talk to your wholesaler and have them bring that in with a couple day window, so that way you have time, and then also be a little bit flexible on your window depending on when you need to have that product. So example is that today hydrangeas, hydrangeas are extremely in high demand right now, and the ones that we had missed through the clearing process in Miami, so it didn't get to get loaded onto our truck. So we had to fly those hydrangeas in, which we'll have them here first thing in the morning, but it added one more day to the lead time of what you would need. So, just I think being flexible on that a little bit will be helpful. And I know it's very challenging because you're trying to match up with a deadline that you have too as well. So I think it's important to reach out to, the wholesaler that you're working with, or the, multiple wholesalers you're working with, and really understand when the trucking schedule is, so that you understand, when those things, are kind of trending to come in. Communication is going to be absolutely key. I think daily we are talking with salespeople as far as on with substitutions, like, we had enough white roses, but we just didn't have enough white, of a particular color. Like this week, it was big for Playa Blancas, but we had a few different options that we could give to people too as well. So, those are kind of really the highlights of it. I don't want it to be where it's all doom and gloom, because there are, we have a huge amount of product coming in. It's just that it's going out very rapidly because the demand is so high. So just, that working ahead, and trying to give as much notice is going to be the most helpful thing, because, that's where we're seeing customers have the most success. I don't know if there's any questions that I can kind of answer, or kind of open it up, or if there's any follow-up things that you guys might have, but I'll kind of open that up to you guys.
John, I think that's all a lot of really good information. And I mean, we all have to remember that everybody all the way around has a lot of new challenges, I guess, that we're all dealing with. And so thank you for educating us about all of that. And we'll definitely keep that in mind. And we know all of our wholesalers are working really hard, and we really appreciate your time today too, and that you're out there delivering flowers right now. I mean, wow, that's really something. So I don't see any questions that are coming into the chat room right now. But if there's something, then we'll definitely touch base with our wholesalers or something like that. Is that correct, Rod?
Yes, absolutely. And I did put a link in the chat window if anybody wants to check it out. There's a nice article there that our Willie Armolini shared today that really explains what's going on in Colombia as we speak.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, John. We really appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, no problem. And if you guys want to, Rod, if you wanted to put my email on there and just share that, if anybody has a question that, they think about later and they want to reach out to me, I'm more than happy to help answer that at any time. So thank you, guys.
Absolutely. Will do. Thank you, John.
Thank
All right.
you.
No problem. Have a great night, guys.
All right, so the next part of our Zoom call is going to be, we have a few key questions that we thought really kind of encompassed maybe some of the issues that all of us would have dealt with over Mother's Day. And so I'm going to ask a couple of our board members a few of those questions, and so that we can kind of all understand what challenges all of us were facing and how they dealt with those. And you're welcome to jump in with a few questions on the chat room, or like we said, raise your hand if you have some. So Jeanette, are you there?
She was.
Do I have Jeanette?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Jeanette.
I'm here.
I would like to start
Hey,
with you, if you don't mind.
sure.
And would you mind just talking a little bit about the Mother's Day flower shortage, and were you able to get a good supply of the product?
I had an excellent Mother's Day. I also had an excellent wholesale relationship with my wholesalers, and believe it or not, I didn't really have any issues. And I think why we didn't have very many is that designer's choice was a major factor this year, and it was well received by the customers. They just wanted mom to have something. And so luckily that all of our customers understood. We made it very apparent as to why there were shortages. There were news broadcasts about the shortages. I don't know if you saw on a national level, but several national networks had it on. And our local network also took off with it and came into the store and interviewed me as to the shortages. So a lot of people understood in advance what they were facing. And they actually were just happy to be able to order flowers and get them delivered. So we really didn't have any issues there. And like I said, my wholesalers came through for me. They really did an excellent job. I can't thank them enough.
Good. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it really was okay.
That's a great way to have sold everything so that you can really keep everybody happy.
Yes.
So Bob, are you there?
I am.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, how's it going?
Here's Bob from Patterson's. So do you feel like you had a good supply, or people were upset that some things weren't as pictured? How did you handle that?
Actually, we did have a really good supply. We had no issues getting flowers. I mean, there was some scrambling, but by ordering early, we were able to find other sources. So that wasn't an issue at all. We skinnied down our website and just really promoted designer choice, and then the items that we did in production that we knew we had the product for. So, and pushed a lot of plants. And so we had no issues. It was a great holiday. Our sales were up like about 55% over last year.
That's awesome. Were you able to push designer's choice on your website too, or was that mostly through phone or in-person orders?
We did have a designer choice option on our website. We're kind of old school. We still do direct mail. And so a lot of our repeat customers order from that direct mail piece. So those are the items that we had in production. So we had them available. Worked
Wonderful.
great.
That sounds like a great system that you had put together. And I'm getting a comment here on the side from Renato that their team was monitoring all of the news, national and local, and that they were worried about the news coverage would paint us in a negative light because we couldn't get a lot of things. But in the end, it really didn't seem to be the case because people were just happy that they were able to get flowers. So I feel like that was in our store too. People were very happy that they could get something out to mom. And we didn't have a lot of people either that were upset if there was a substitution that had to be made either. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, I think just skinning down the website was a major plus in that. So those options just weren't out there. People didn't have a picture in mind. So it worked good.
Good. Great. Thank you, Bob. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Yeah.
And do we have Jerome on the line? Jerome?
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
Who's that? Let's see.
I'm not sure who that is. Jerome shows
Enter
that
your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise,
that's probably Jerome.
Okay.
I know he said it was.
please enter the meeting passcode followed by pound.
Or maybe that's Teresa. That's Teresa.
You are in the meeting now. There are more than 20 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6. You have been added to the waiting room. You cannot talk or listen until the host admits you to the meeting. You are muted.
I admitted you, Teresa.
Oh boy.
Now you've got two.
Teresa,
are you
is
there?
that you?
Oh.
I think we're gonna just mute Teresa and go on.
Okay. And I see that Jerome is on the line, but we're not getting him right now, correct?
I'm here.
Oh, hi, Jerome.
There he is.
Great. Thank you. I have a question for you if you don't mind
Oh,
sharing.
what is it? I love questions.
Oh, great. Here we go. $1 million
Welcome
question.
to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by
During Mother's Day, how did you handle price increases and are customers noticing the increase? And how did you train your staff about explaining the increase?
Wow, that's more than one question. That's like a series of events. That's like a dominoes game right there. And that's kind of what it felt like. But we started out, we're a Teleflora shop and our website is through Teleflora. And Teleflora had sent out a notice that they were going to do an across the board increase on arrangements. And they were doing, I think their initial thought was they were doing $5 and $10 and $15 or something like that. But we contacted them and educated them a little bit more on that because it didn't really make sense for some of the designs to only be increased by $5 because if you have a $200 on your $200 design on your website, what's $5 going to do? So we actually customize that with them. And I want to tell everyone that does a wire service website or anybody, you just need to reach out to those companies because they were more than willing to work with us. You know, we're on the front end, as I call it, you know, the retailers, and these people that are working on all the tech for these other companies that are assistants of ours are not knowledgeable of what we need. And so they try their best, but we have to reach out to them and say, this is what we really need. And so we divided our designs up. I believe it was any design on our website that was $75 or less was raised by $5. And then the next bracket was 10, next bracket was 15. And as they got higher, we went into $30 and $50 increases. If we have our lavish line on our website and the designs start around 200 and go up to 5, well, to add $5 to a $300 arrangement is kind of senseless. So we added additional money. So that's how we handled our website. As far as our staff, obviously we printed information, handed that out, and then we also had a staff meeting. We have multiple locations, so we had a Zoom call, not a Zoom call, just a conference call basically, and chatted about it, and made all those things happen quickly because we had to educate our staff. And Rod, you mentioned a new letter out from Willie Armolini. I'm wondering if you could take fragments of that letter and possibly, from an association standpoint, create a letter that we could use to send out in a newsletter to our clients, because our clients are clueless. They're all very understanding once you explain it. But if we could have a document that, I mean, we send out a regular monthly newsletter, I would love to include that and be able to send something to clients that was more geared towards the client mentality and let them know what we're experiencing and make them aware of the fact that there's price increases. I had a gentleman in the store today, same thing. He came in and he was placing an order and he said, oh, I ordered one. I don't know. I placed an order with you. Can you just pull it up? I'd like to do the same thing again. And when we brought it up, I saw the price of it and I just looked at him and I said, unfortunately, we can't do it at the same price, but we'd be happy to do the same design for you. And I had to take a minute and explain to him what's going on. Very, very receptive. We didn't get really any pushback from our clients on our raising our prices. Other than we did have a few people that ordered off our website who then felt for the money they spent, it should have maybe been larger. So that's always a discussion because certain design styles, people expect them to be a certain size. And when you're limited on funds, that size could be also somewhat affected. So that's something that we did struggle a little bit with. But for the most part, we didn't really have any pushback about raising our prices. Our average order was about $125 for Mother's Day, which we were delighted with. That's up about $25 from where we usually are. And yeah, as much as everyone else, I'm sure you had a great Mother's Day, and so did we. And yeah, it was good. Hope that helped.
Very helpful. I appreciate that, Jerome. Thank you very much. You handled all of those questions very well. So, I mean, with the discussion that we've had so far today with our board members, what's really kind of a common thread is that everybody had a great Mother's Day and was busy and had some good suppliers, and that's wonderful. On our website, we do have a disclaimer that you have to click off of in order to get to the rest of the website that does say that due to shortages and things like that, we may have to make substitutions. And so we felt like everybody was very kind of embraced that too on our end. And then at this point, I feel like we're all just looking to the future and what's going to happen next. And Bob, Jeanette, Jerome, Teresa, do any of you have, some thoughts about what's coming up or how you're preparing to tackle proms or weddings, anything like that that's coming up?
I'll quickly say that the big elephant in the room is weddings and events. They're picking up fast and furious in our area. And obviously everyone wants hydrangeas and garden roses and peonies and specific colors and all that. So that's really our biggest challenging segment right now, is making our clients understand. I realize you ordered your event flowers, 6 months or a year ago. However, things have changed and this is the new real world. We're doing our very best. And we're making sure they're aware of that. And any new proposals we're doing, we actually have that written right on the proposals that we have. We reserve the right to make substitutions based on product availability.
Perfect. So anybody have any questions about anything that we've talked about so far? If you want to put your video screens on so we can see you, raise your hand or type something into the chat if you have any thoughts or questions. From Jen Linehan, are you giving the brides a heads up or are you just calling them the week of? I don't want to freak them out if things are going to be fine for their flowers. I think that's a wonderful question. I think on our end, we're giving people a heads up that there is some shortages, so we might have to sub some substitutions, but I usually call somebody the week of if something is different, but also have that substitution ready in hand. And usually I feel like the week of, we've had a lot of really understanding clients that say, I know you're going to make it beautiful. And if some things are a little bit different, then that's okay. And that's really how we've been handling it. Jeanette or Bob or Jerome, are any of you doing it differently than that?
No, the same as you spoke about in Jerome also. So far it hasn't been an issue, but it's going to be. So we just make the best of it and take each day as it comes, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody have any other questions or thoughts?
I'm all about information in advance. I'm not as worried about a bride freaking out, I guess was the description, because I don't want to deal with it the week of the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
I want to deal with it in advance and make them aware that we're doing our very best to do exactly what was ordered. However, in the event we need to make substitutions, we will stay consistent with the look and feel of the event. And that's the key in selling it, sell a look and a feel and not sell a specific, which is very difficult when they all come in with their Pinterest photos and they want exactly this flower and exactly that flower. That's really what we let them know in advance when they're making their final payment. We just let them know this is reality now. We're doing our very best. We have not really ran into any issues with that, to be honest with you. They appreciated knowing, and they've all commented, we've already put our trust in you, and we know you'll do the best that you can, and that's all we can ask. So that's what we're going with, and it's been very smooth. So I'm all in favor of notice as far in advance as possible to let them know it could be a problem.
Absolutely. And another comment coming in from Bob, just saying that cost of labor and finding staff is a major concern. And I feel like every industry and everybody and very much with the floral industry, we're feeling that squeeze for sure. And that is definitely a concern at this point. Bob, how do you feel like that affected your Mother's Day, or how's that going to affect your event season as we move on here?
Well, it came out, Mother's Day was fine, but I'm just thinking going forward, cost of labor is going to be a major factor. And when you can make $15 or $20, working drive-through at a restaurant, and finding, are people finding it better to try to train designers from the ground level up, or, just wondering what people are thinking about for the future.
Has anybody on the chat or on the discussion had any thoughts on that, about how you've been able to maybe find more staff to help you out during these busy times that are coming up? Oh, Harold, do you have a question or a thought there? Can you unmute yourself? Or Rod? Rod, there you go. You're on now.
Yeah, there he goes. Well, he's unmuted, but I don't hear him.
Sorry, Harold, we can't hear you.
I also think I can add something here while Harold's figuring out his mic. I think we could be looking at adjusting our store hours based on staff availability. That's something that we're looking at right now. And I know a lot of businesses in retail have already done that, where they've adjusted. We currently are open 7 days a week, and we may be taking a look at that and adjusting that accordingly, just because of staffing concerns. And basically, the people we do have need some time off.
Yep, I agree with that.
Allison, there's a question in there from Diane Schulte. Diane's one of our past presidents from our Wisconsin organization over in Madison. You see that?
Yeah. Yep. She was wondering if anybody had to turn away business for Mother's Day. That she ended up moving some business to Monday in order to handle the volume from the weekend. Does anybody have something to share about that? Whether you had to turn away some? Yes,
we did. There was a certain time of day that we cut off deliveries for that day or the next day, and it got to be repetitious as far as we knew when our drivers could be back and what time we were cutting off deliveries. So yes, we had to move a lot of them to Monday, and people were understanding. This is the whole thing about this Mother's Day was kind of weird in that way, because even though people were wanting things, they weren't demanding. They were very understanding, and it was great to see that you didn't have to deal with all that drama. But they understood that it might have to go on Monday, and we did everything we could. We told them if it's in the area in which we're going, we'll try to get it made up and get it out before that. But they were very understanding. So yes, we did move a lot to Monday.
Yep. Thank you, Jeanette. I appreciate that. Anybody else have any questions or follow up on anything that we discussed previously?
I see Harold's back. Harold, are you able to get your audio working yet?
Can you hear me, Rod?
Yes, there you are.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Labor was our biggest issue for Mother's Day whatsoever. We just couldn't find any additional help, period, from drivers to wrappers to people to sweep the floor. And it's become a challenge. We're on Indeed looking for help. I had 2 interviews today. People said they'd come in, never showed up, never came whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot, in the office. We're getting emails and calls daily of, members that are looking for help. And it's got to be one of your toughest challenges right now, I would think.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Here, I feel like people have been very kind because they know that everybody is understaffed and appreciate the help that they are getting. But yeah, spending time trying to find staff and interviewing them and then having that happen is very disheartening, and it's a lot of time. It's a lot of time spent. So I feel like we're all feeling that squeeze right now too.
Absolutely. In our area, fast food restaurants are closed. They have signs up saying we're closed until August because of lack of labor.
Wow.
So it's really been a challenge in our market area. Then going back to what Jerome said regarding weddings, we give every bride that walks in the door a sheet that talks about Pinterest, and it talks about substitutions. So we're very, very upfront from the minute they walk in our door to let them know that there may be a substitution or there may be a problem.
Good. That's a great way to handle that. So everybody has that information from the get-go. I think that's really wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Harold. We appreciate that.
Harold, I have a question. Did Harold get any pushback from clients on that, from brides?
Well, no, a little bit here and there, but as you well know, I walked by our consultation table with our bridal consultant, and you see 5 phones out looking at Pinterest, no way. It is what it is. I've learned to say no. The older I get, I'm willing to say no a lot more. And it's just the way of the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have another question coming up here asking if any of us offered flex date deliveries to avoid having to turn business away. Bob, do you offer flex dates, or Harold? Go ahead.
Yeah, we offer flex delivery for the holiday. It was either Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, and our Monday was as good as our almost as good as our Saturday. So and we explained to the people that it was just a labor situation, and everybody was very, very understanding.
Wonderful. Does anybody else have any other input for that question? Rod, do you have anything that you would like to add?
No, I'm just looking at the chat window. I see Bob's talking about freight costs there with a vendor on his container from China has gone from 1,900 to 9,000. So that's, I can't stress that enough. Just keep a good eye and a good feel on your cost of goods and make sure you're increasing your prices accordingly, because the last thing we need to do is, have everybody suffer because their profits are down and their cost of goods are up and the labor's up, and all of a sudden your profit margins are shot. So keep a good eye on that. I think that's a great discussion. I want to thank you, Allison, for facilitating this evening. You did a great job, and thank you to everyone for being with us. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to email the office. We'll get right back to you, or feel free to give us a call. And I did hear Jerome's comment about trying to draft something generically that we could send out that you guys could use in your newsletters talking about the current situations with product. So we'll take a look at that tomorrow and try to come up with something and shoot it out at an e-blast that you could use. And on
that'd be great. Also, Rodney, I think you had something to do with the referral, but I have an interview tomorrow with the Detroit Free Press, and they're going to do an article on the floral industry as it stands right now, and the challenges and the ups and downs that we're all facing. So I think also as an association, it might be in our best interest to maybe send out some press releases, because people are wanting to know about this, because they're hearing about it. It was on national news, and they're hearing about it when they go to the local flower shop. They're hearing about it when they go to a nursery and garden center. It's the same thing. I mean, there's a lot of challenges, mainly around staffing, and then also, which of course affects pricing. So I think there's some opportunity for us as a group to really get the message out in our local communities and to all the press that we can possibly get it to. If you could give us some tools for that, that would be awesome. Because the message being consistent would be great.
Yeah.
Rod, can I add something as well?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm a local flower farmer here in Saginaw, and you're talking about availability of product, and I have about 2 acres of flowers. So it's Andy's Arrangements on Facebook, and then also I'm on Instagram. If there is, and I also do deliveries to local flower shops and things like that. So and it's probably the freshest you could probably get. I cut them the night before. So if that is something that is of interest to anyone, please let me know.
Great. Thank you, Andrea. Could you put your information in the chat window down there? Your
I can
contact?
definitely do that. Yep, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, good. Any other questions or any other information before we wrap up? Andrea, if you want to send me your information to my email address too,
Will do.
that would be great.
Yeah, I have your email.
Okay.
So, yeah, I can definitely send that.
Okay, excellent. Sounds good, everyone. I appreciate you being with us, and I wish you all a very prosperous and fruitful spring. And going into the summer here, it's going to be very busy. So do your best, take some deep breaths, and sell lots of flowers.
Speed, yeah.
All right, thanks all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Allison. Great job.
Thank you. See you guys later.
Bye.